want to know what the weak point of a mech is? The fucking pilot.
Get away from her, you bitch!
His papers say he was a raven.
Protocol 3.
A pattern blue!
Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants, a giant robot power hour discussing mechs across media, their stories, and why we love them. I'm Alice, and I'm joined by Brian.
Chipotle is sitting on the biggest breakthrough in energy consumption in the last few centuries, and we're all just letting them sit here, charge us for guacamole.
And Nico.
This is my formal apology to Alice. I'm sorry for ever doubting you. I'm sorry for ever casting aspersions on your taste. I'm sorry for calling you a weeb, brackets derogatory.
This time around, we're discussing Sunrise's most ambitious baseball metaphor they've ever created, Gunhed, 1989. Let's launch into it.
Guys, this movie takes place this year.
I know! And so does Pacific Rim. We are so fucked.
I'm so excited for July 4th this year, you don't even know.
Yeah, all the Pacific Rim stuff technically and canonically has already happened. It happened around the 8th. So that's happened, and then July 4th is gonna suck too.
Well, we're back with a live action film. It's been a minute.
It's time to finally see the waifus in meat space.
When I brought Gunhed to the table, I thought about bringing the manga. And then I was like, no. I know my friends haven't seen this epic tale, so I've got to give them the raw, unfiltered, original OG Gunhed.
And thank you for that.
This came before the manga, then?
The manga is supplementary to this. All other material related to Gunhed came after the movie. The movie is the originator. So
oh my god,
that's crazy.
I love that.
Everything you thought was like left out from the adaptation, no. No. The movie is it.
Oh my
This
god.
is what's going on.
But it weaves such
I
a
love
rich
it.
We
tapestry.
do. And we're gonna
Yes.
get into it. What was our last physical people media? Was it
G-Savior, I think.
Oh, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Oh, right.
Oh, was that after
Okay,
G-Savior
we're
in
keeping
the canon?
the Toho Productions going, you know? That's nice.
Where's the sponsorship?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. So
Sunrise, where's
right.
the sponsorship?
So, Gunhed was produced in 1989 by Sunrise in association with Toho. Toho being known mostly for the Godzilla monster kaiju bullshittery. This is an hour and 40 minutes of fun.
An hour and 40 minutes of pure, just like, shoot it into my veins, late 80s sci-fi action thriller. Just inject it directly into my body.
Inject that Tex-Mexium right into me.
When that popped up in the somber, like, opening text, I was like, that has to be like a stupid fan translation. No.
I'm so getting Chipotle today after this record.
So is this part of a franchise? No, unfortunately. Gunhed was an attempt to make a franchise, and bad news bears for what ended up happening. There's
well,
a
it's
manga.
because they said everything that needed to be said. It's a Gesamtkunstwerk. It's all there.
First use of Gesamtkunstwerk work in this podcast used for Gunhed.
Imagine what we could have had, though.
The manga adaptation, as well as the novel adaptation, add a lot to the world building, including adding in some chronological issues and canon issues. There was a game released with this on like the Famicom. That's this little 8-bit shooter thing.
Oh, I need to play this.
But it was also, the Gunhed appeared in Super Robot Wars, which we will be covering in the future, because that is, when you think mecha, you think that. However, not in every Super Robot Wars. Bad news, Brooklyn.
Oh.
So what did you two know about Gunhed before I put it on the schedule.
I didn't know jack shit. I'd never heard of it before. And instead of talking at length about that, I'm going to talk about Blazing Lasers, which is what the Gunhed TurboGrafx video game was known as in North America. I'm going to post a screenshot. This is incredible. I need this. I don't know what's going on here. I need to know what's going on here.
Oh my god, why is
Yes! Yes!
what the fuck? There's
The caption for this image is the player dealing with enemy ships shooting pyramids and moais in Area 5.
Yeah, why are they together? The pyramids and the moai heads are together, and it looks like the top has come off of one of them. This is powerful. Is this where we got Tex-Mexium?
This is where that pyramid is where Tex-Mexium came from.
Rich for a Ko-Fi episode, that's all I'll say. Yeah, great game. Nico, what did you know about Gunhed?
I didn't know anything. I didn't even double check when I accessed this video through legal means.
When you loaded your region-locked North American DVD of this movie.
Oh yeah, when I popped in the VHS, I honestly thought this was animated. I had not realized that this was going to be a live action production. And as the first of the scenery started to roll in, I immediately began pogging harder than I've pogged in a while. Because I love a live action mech thing, and this is Toho, so it's like there's some like painted on lightning, but this is like all practical. This is like all miniatures. This is all like, oh my god.
Not just miniatures either. We'll get into that.
Oh my god.
So, I will say, if you want to watch this, listeners who live in North America, good fucking luck. It ain't available legally.
You have to email Alice. That's how you watch this. She'll mail you a VHS.
Hit me up on Blue Sky.
Hit Alice up on Blue Sky to get the fucking 8 tracks rip.
Oh no, it's a Betamax. So let's talk about Gunhed, because I want to give some background to this, because this is important in the canon of Mecha, I feel like. So this was written and directed by Masato Harada, who didn't really direct much before that, but who since then directed such amazing movies as Chronicle of My Mother and The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise.
Oh my god.
Film.
The idea of a wonderful movie about dealing with growing elderly parents losing their faculties, and also Tom Cruise's The Last Samurai, a breath of experience with this man. This was also written by James Bannon. Got a credit for this. James Bannon is a sound editor, but you would also know him as writing the movie Point Blank, the original one. That's it. That's what he wrote other than Gunhed. Both of you have seen Point Blank, right?
No.
No, but I've heard of it.
You've seen the Hot Fuzz parody scene of Point Blank, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was also written with Hiroshi Kashiwabara, who wrote pretty much every Lupin the Third movie, but also Godzilla 2000.
Oh, boy.
We've got some real
accolades.
I think they spent all of their energy on Gunhed. I think that's what happened.
So it is very funny looking and researching into this, the amount of effort they put into the people they pulled in to design the gear, the mechanical stuff. Specifically, you'll never guess who the mechanical designer for this was.
It wasn't.
Shoji.
Are you fucking kidding me? He's everywhere.
How can you not tell looking at that thing?
Yeah,
honestly.
That's fair.
Also, I just had a really stunning fact. The actor who plays Brooklyn in this movie is in the live-action Kaguya-sama Love is War movie. I just thought I would point that out.
As the dad. We can pull up the scenes. It's pretty great. So the main actor for this, as Brian said, Masahiro Takashima, who plays Brooklyn, debuted a year earlier and starred in both Toto Channel and Busu. So 2 banger movies. right before this, 2 years before Gunhed. This was his third acting role.
Wow, really? He doesn't drive, so.
He doesn't drive. He's gone on to become a very solidly employed TV and TV movie actor in Japan, including in Kaguya-sama and a lot of period pieces.
His IMDb is pages and pages. He is also in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 and Godzilla vs. Destoroyah.
We'll see him.
Toho loves this guy.
Loves him. Brenda Beck, who played Sergeant Nim, starred in a lot of 80s and 90s action movies, including this one, but is best known for her role in LA Confidential as Lana Turner, and Captain Linda from Under Siege to Dark Territory, the worst action movie ever made.
Damn, okay, that's a strong
Have you guys seen this
statement.
one? This is one where terrorists take over the battleship Missouri.
Metal Gear Solid 4?
I can't believe she was in Metal Gear Solid 4.
I can't believe she was in that.
For better or worse, both child actors did minimal other acting besides this. Eleven's actor did go on to star in Netflix's hit TV series Stranger Things.
All right, that's a shit joke. I'm gonna kill you with my hands. I believed you
for a second, and then that was.
I'm gonna kill you with my hands.
She did end up doing some smaller roles. Seven left the industry not long after this movie, however. So
damn, got Anakin Skywalkered.
And then again, the main mechanical designer noted for this was Shoji Kawamori, but they also credited the creator of Gundam for assisting. So some real powerhouses involved in the designs here. Why Gunhed is important in mecha canon. Sunrise bet big on this, including the construction of a 1-to-1 size aircraft for the film. The Mary Ann is real. It was created, couldn't fly, but it was a fully 1-to-1 size plane set.
That's so crazy.
That they would move around for different media events.
That's crazy.
Mary Ann gets like 4 minutes of screen time.
90 million yen to build that scale model.
Oh my god.
That's crazy. It's a cool looking plane. You see it in like the opening crawl. It looks cool. But also
not that cool.
not that
90,
cool.
Not 90 million yen worth of cool.
So CGI wasn't where it needed to be for this. So most of the manpower and labor that went into this was for practical sets and models. So costs skyrocketed. Like Robot Jox, the cost of this movie was just too much. But unlike Robot Jox, which used Italian-made scale models, Gunhed used huge, actual-sized props.
God. Oh my god. Is Gunhed real and can he be my friend?
Pretty sure he's scrapped now.
Oh!
Sunrise's ambitious play was such a failure at the box office that its subsequent financial issues helped to contribute to their buyout by Bandai. This is credited as the reason Sunrise was bought by Bandai.
Oh my god.
This is why we have Gundam Wing.
Now this one's for Brian and fan of the pod, Kyle, who I think they're related.
Husband of the pod.
Husband of the pod,
Husband
Kyle.
of the pod.
Toho originally planned for Gunhed to join the Godzilla universe if this film was a hit. But because of its failure, the script they had written was changed from a giant computer to a giant plant. Brian, what movie did this become?
Godzilla vs. Biollante.
Correct.
Which is crazy because Godzilla vs. Biollante is like one of the best ones.
Now imagine if it was a supercomputer Chiron 6 and Gunhed had to help Godzilla.
I cannot believe that we failed this movie as a society and as a species.
I know. Every once in a while, do you ever do this? Like, you see a movie and it's pretty good, and then you like look it up on Wikipedia or whatever, and they give you like the box office, or they give you like the budget and then the box office, so you can tell immediately if it was a total flop. I did this with something recently, and I hissed out loud. I was like, "Ooh!"
We gotta bring it back. We gotta bring it. We gotta do it. We gotta do what PMC's 80G. I want to start over. Hold on.
Yeah,
you can do it.
We need to do for this movie what PMC's G Savior PS2 run did for G Savior, which is get the internet talking about it again. Listener, you need to kick back, get yourself a Robo Cola Pepsi type, and watch this movie, please.
It's so good. It's so, like, it's legitimately upsetting that this was the end of it. Like, I get it, apparently, since they were just building Gunhed, but, like, it's so sad to think that this just dead. Because let me tell you, the energy in this fucking movie, it is giving the terrible dark cyberpunk. It is giving Blade Runner. It is giving Alien. It's
giving Lawnmower Man.
It is giving Lawnmower Man. It is giving Knight Rider. It is it is everything.
It sure
There's
is a fun time.
There's even a dykey little woman in it. Do you know how happy I was with that woman? I was like, damn, Shiva got short hair.
Baby?
Yes.
Bet. So I think it's very interesting because both this and Robot Jox were made during a bubble period in the economy of Japan. And both the fact that Gunhed was released in Japan and then there was delayed release in Western audiences, it was playing against Robot Jox, and yet both failed in their own ways.
Ready.
Both killed their own studios.
Both crashed and burned.
We weren't ready as a society. Like, we were too busy watching fucking Die Hard or whatever the fuck. Like, John McClane isn't even a mech. I'll just say it.
John McClane isn't even a goddamn mech. So yeah, I wanted to give all that backstory just so people would know where this is coming from, why it's important in the mechasphere, and also why it's important in Year in the Shell.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Because
immediately was
Shoji.
like, oh, I understand how this is an intertext. For our listeners, if you don't know what an intertext is, I'm kidding.
So that's where you're born with both genitals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Shoutouts to our intersex listeners.
If there are,
Shoutouts to 8 Jack Off Island. Should we get into the summary?
let's do it. Okay. Here is my 3-paragraph summary on 8 Jack Off Island.
It requires it.
In 2005, on Island 8JO, a volcanic island in the upper Pacific Ocean, as we all know is 1,000 miles from the coast of Asia, which is very clearly called out.
The Asian coast.
The Asian coast.
There's only one.
Cyborg Tech created a fully automated manufacturing facility run by the supercomputer Chiron 5. Minimal human staff were kept on site despite not being needed. On July 4th, 2025, our Independence Day, Chiron 5 declared war on humanity. The Allied forces launched an all-out attack to defeat Chiron 5, deploying all of their Gunhed units to defeat Chiron. However, the attack, getting very close to defeating them, was defeated. Despite Chiron winning, however, they stopped threatening humanity and fell into obscurity. 13 years later, the bandit crew of the Marianne found their way to the island and began to attempt the facility for computer chips. While going into
loot the facility?
Loot the facility. While going into the facility, they are killed off one by one until only Brooklyn, our plucky protagonist, is left. Luckily for him, the team found the survivor of the Texas Air Rangers, Sergeant Nim,
Yo!
who was also at the facility, following up on a rogue bio-robot who stole a sample of the newest element, Texanium.
Tex-Mexium, please, Jesus.
Please, journalistic integrity, it's called Tex-Mexium.
After coming
Y'all-
across two... Oh, sorry.
No, I just
Okay.
want to say y'all.
Y'all. After coming across two kids, 7 and 11, who were living in the facility, the team gets to action to stop Chiron's plan of using the Tex-Mexium to turn the entire main citadel into a nuclear fusion reactor to power its resurgence. During the climb, they come across Gunhed 507, an advanced AI-powered gunhead who was part of the assault 13 years ago. With Brooklyn as his pilot, the two manage to climb the tower and defeat the deity protecting the tower, the Aerobot. While at the same time, Sergeant Nim and the two children go on their own quests to stop this Chiron plot, culminating in the group succeeding with a lot of blood, sweat, and coolant. They escape the self-destruction, thanks to 507's help, have a little kiss, and fly away a happy little family. And that is the summary of Gunhed. With that, we'll go to the break.
Hey, Nico here in the break. Just wanted to let you know that while this is a podcast, and we'll always do our best to describe visuals we're commenting on, we'll also include links to the mechs and images we discuss in the show notes, and post actual photos on our show website. Along with that, make sure to check the show notes for content warnings as appropriate to the episode. That's all for now. Back to the show.
Welcome back from the break. All right, guys, it's time to talk about Gunhed and what happened in it.
No. I wanted to talk about, just so that we establish it, because this happens for the whole movie, the way that everyone speaks to each other vis-a-vis, like, just switching languages randomly. And
Everyone's
like how
bilingual.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
It's really, really cool. It's like one of the coolest things, I think, in the whole movie to me.
So they switch between,
It is one of my favorite things. I will say, like, this comes up as a trope sometimes. Recently, I've been interacting again with the Oceans movies, and the only character they do this with is their Chinese actor, and they never subtitle what he's saying, so it kind of sucks shit. This is like the good version of that. Like, they switch seamlessly between Japanese and English.
Hey, what the fuck does interacting with the Oceans movies mean?
I was thinking that too. I was like, so you mean watching them?
No, I'm not watching them. I'm listening to the podcast Kill James Bond. That's all I'm doing. They're doing robbery season. It's really good. Anyway. But yeah, so like, I'd only ever seen this done before as a way to like, you know, like they put in some subtitles that say like speaking native language or whatever, and then like the person speaking English kind of loosely paraphrases what they said. I love it. Just switches back and forth. The English is subtitled for Japanese, and obviously us watching this, the Japanese is subtitled in English, and it's just really well done. And unlike some movies I've seen, I'm thinking about Shin Godzilla and the English language parts of that, everyone sounds really natural, which is really great.
I was so worried the first time I watched this when Sergeant Nim, the Texas Air Ranger, blonde hair, blue-eyed woman, opens her mouth to speak Japanese. I did a sharp intake of breath.
She sounds great. Everyone sounds great. I also think it's just particularly interesting how much better this is done than the way you would normally assume watching like a Western piece of media, which is just to say that like, I feel like, well, I mean, just basically what Nico said, but I also think just knowing that it's a full Japanese production is really fun. The English sounds great. The Japanese sounds great. The arguing is great. Like the cadence between characters right at the very beginning is, I would watch a show about these people.
It's a really good sequence when we're inside the Marianne, the plane that they're flying out to 8 Jackoff Island.
Can we not call it 8 Jackoff Island?
No, it's called 8 Jackoff Island. Sorry.
A funny thing I want to point out, which I didn't realize until I saw the IMDb, all of these people have like little code names and they all start with B. We have Brooklyn.
No, let's go through the crew.
Okay.
One by one. So, Brooklyn. Why is he
These
called
people
Brooklyn?
are all going to die.
He's called Brooklyn because he has a Brooklyn... Is this the Dodgers? I don't remember what the baseball team is.
The Dodgers is LA, I believe. But,
okay. Well,
it is
to
the
LA
Brooklyn
from New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I got confused. I didn't know what timeline we were in.
Baseball team. Oh, what is the Dodgers? Wait, what is...
This is before they moved to LA.
Yes, that's what I thought. Y'all acting like I'm stupid. No, I know more about baseball.
I don't know who y'all is. It was fully me.
I just want to see you two try and talk about sports. That's just one of my favorite things to do.
I can talk about sports as much as Brooklyn can talk about sports. I am obsessed.
I just think it's important to point out that we were literally both right, and Alice was just silently looking at us like we were both children the entire time. I just think it's important.
Brooklyn is wearing a Brooklyn Dodgers baseball shirt and knows absolutely nothing about baseball, and I think it's mentioned he can't read his own shirt.
No, he can read it, he just doesn't know what it means. And when he says this to the Texas Air Ranger, she does not give any context.
Which is hysterical also because the metaphor that Gunhed uses to like get him to move at the end works somehow, even though he has no idea what the reference is.
Sometimes a robot talks to you about baseball so passionately that all you can do is go, I'll do this for you, my weird little baseball buddy.
I know we're going through the list of characters. Can we sidebar just real quick to the use of baseball music in both the intro and the ending?
What the fuck was happening? I thought I was hallucinating because they didn't play the full song. They only played like the run-up. It is so
Absolutely.
bizarre. I thought all the music was going to be like that. No, it pops up twice.
The music absolutely also pops off, though. The music is so good.
Which
We're
one do you have?
Synth till we die on this podcast, I swear to God.
It's so good.
I forget the name of the person who did the music, but it's also one of those like, oh shit, they got that person. So we have Brooklyn. We also have Sergeant Nim, whose code name, which we don't get in this from the Texas Air Rangers, is Bandit.
Well, that's how she fits into the B family.
Yeah, but we don't get that in here until she says it at the end.
Yeah.
So she's a Texas Air Ranger. What? The Texas Air Rangers? What's that?
I think, you know what? I think it's time that Texas fields an Air Force. I want to see how bad that goes. They're going to privatize like fully 85% of that, and they're going to try to take off, and they're all just going to pancake into the ground.
So I'm going to give you this because they don't explain this in the movie.
I just fully
The
accepted
world
it.
government is headquartered in Dallas, Texas, in the Gunhed universe. That's why it's
Pull
a
that
big deal.
shit off.
I'm not seeing anything extremely crazy about the OST on this, but the guy, one of the people responsible for the music production, also worked on Godzilla vs. Biollante, which I think just kind of connects
I
back.
think they just really pulled a lot of Toho's production capability, and you can see it in everything that's happening on screen.
You sure can. It's so good.
The fact that the world government is based out of Dallas, I'm still grappling with this. Does that make all humans who... Are we all Texans in 2025?
You know why? Because in this world, JFK was never assassinated, and so he went on to, as we know, establish the world government in Dallas.
Oh, yeah,
Texas.
he moved the United States capital to Dallas, and then when the United
That's what
States
he was doing.
achieved peaceful
That's why they were
hegemony-
mad at him.
That's why they were mad at him.
Jesus Christ.
You know what wouldn't have happened if we had the Texas Air Force? They just would have 9/11 the book depository.
The leader of the B Bangor, which is the name of this group, by the way, Bancho, which is just Japanese for boss.
Yep.
So Bancho, what can we say?
He's my favorite. I was actually really sad when he died. He's such a dick.
I really like him.
If you play with a gun, you'll be unlucky. Thanks, Bancho.
Okay, that is what's so funny to me. Okay, because fucking Brooklyn spends most of this movie snapping the cylinder on a revolver, which, like, I know isn't good for a revolver, and I just kept sitting there going, ooh. And that's even eliminating the possibility of accidental discharge. He's just, like, wrecking the revolver on this guy.
Nico's inner Ocelot cringing
I'm
spiritually.
sorry, it's bad. Ocelot
Which
would
she
never
has.
do
No,
this.
I'm just pointing out that she has one.
Yeah, I do.
So, let me ask you two this. With the manga, do you see us ever covering it, or do you want me to give you notes?
I'm
from
gonna read
here?
it personally. I don't know that we'll ever cover it, but it's okay.
Oh, you can give us notes and then we can still end up covering
Perfect.
it too.
Okay.
I don't see an issue.
So my note with Bancho is that in the manga adaptation, he lasts until the second half, and it's much more satisfying.
Okay.
That's good.
Then our next one, Bebe, the sub leader. Bebe has a cyborg eye thing.
I love her. She is so dyked up. Please Google Bebe Gunhed. Oh my god, she's looking fine.
She looks very. She's the cyberiest and punkiest of everyone. I think.
She is.
She really is, and I feel like in the manga her plot is much more fleshed out, but I like how they kind of do it in this, but we'll get into that. So besides them, we have Bombay, who is the rat king of the group, who just loves his shiny things.
Yeah, I was like, I think he's the guy
This
with
is
the medal.
Goggles Man. The like.
Yeah, the guy with all the medals
the
on
chains,
his hat. Yeah.
the beret with all the stuff on it.
Yeah.
In the novel,
He's
this is
cool.
a woman.
Oh,
Trans representation. Claiming it.
shout out. We love a powerful trans man.
Bombay is trans.
Our next one is Boxer.
I don't remember this guy.
I don't remember this guy either.
Boxer's the guy who gets crushed immediately in the beginning.
Oh, right. He's the guy outside when Boomerang's like, yo, where'd you go?
Yeah. Which brings us to Boomerang, who's our techie engineer.
Boomerang, I love Boomerang. She's their techie. She's played by an actress called Doll Win, and as far as I know, she hasn't done any other work. But I am so sad she dies immediately because I was looking respectfully.
She's super cool. I love the way she talks.
Yeah.
Flat out. I'm sad about her dying too.
Yeah.
Most of these people I wish had lived a lot longer, I will say.
Yeah, they have like a cool squad energy, but then they die off immediately so we can focus on Nim and Brooklyn, which makes me sad.
And lastly, we have Barbados.
No, we have Barabbas.
Oh, Barabbas.
Yeah.
Hey, he's black. We all immediately knew he was gonna die, right?
Well, I'm glad he didn't die first. And I like that this is presented as like a multinational cast. Like, Doll Win is very clearly not Japanese, but is part of the crew, and like so is Barabbas. Like,
Yeah.
I really liked that there was an impression of multiculturalness, even though it was a majority Japanese cast.
Also, he got a really cool death.
Oh,
He
one
got
of
a
the
really
best
cool
ones.
death.
One of the best deaths.
Okay, so let's start flashback. The war. We get some wide sweeping shots of Chiron Island, and this really evoked the beginning of Robot Jocks with the model sets. We get some really cool sweeping shots of Chiron 5 Island, a Chekhov Island. And then we get the world government and the Gunhed battalion attacking the final line of defense, which is level 389, as we all know.
Yeah, that's where I would put mine.
Because Chiron 5's tower is 400 stories tall, and we have the core computer at 390. Everyone knows this.
Everyone knows this.
And we can't bomb this place because...
We actually, you know what? This is the alternate universe where JFK survived. We successfully carried off nuclear disarmament. And like that's why it's such a threat that Chiron 5 would get nuclear capability, because no one could match it.
Amazing. I will say the movie does poorly at showing that they lose, by the way. Like,
It's
I
a
feel
little
like it's
bit
really
confusing.
ambiguous.
Yeah.
Ambiguous.
The beginning sequence is a lot of like just like cool mechanized shit slamming against each other. And like when I mentioned Alien before, like this is a very dark film in the sense that like literally what's on screen is dark. It is majority like dark grays, light grays, blacks, and like flashes of color and light. And that's a lot of this intro sequence is two fairly dark machines just like destroy each other. But I guess this is the first confrontation between the Gunheads and Aerobot, which sets up our kind of like revenge arc later.
Yeah, but good call out on the darkness. That was kind of put out there as one of the main criticisms of the film, is like, you don't actually get to see the cool giant robots fighting because it's so dark. It's hard to see what's happening.
They hate to see a queen winning. They say this about Gunhead. They say this about Pacific Rim. I think maybe you should just get an OLED. I'm going to become that guy.
You heard it here first.
The official stance of OSG Pod is get an OLED so you can officially appreciate Gunhead the movie.
LG, where's our sponsorship? We need an OSG branded OLED TV.
Absolutely not.
The OSG LED.
Hard pass on the,
The
LG.
OSG LED.
So we then go into the Mary Ann. I just love this. This whole sequence just has Aliens 2 vibes, meeting the crew.
Yeah.
We first get Brooklyn, who is eating a carrot through his gator mask.
Yeah.
He's like wearing a gator or like a muffler sweater or something, and he looks like Orin from Final Fantasy X. This was so weird.
He hates flying and driving due to a backstory that we don't get explained in the film, but in the manga we learn he was trapped in a cockpit for 10 days and has PTSD.
You know, that's helpful to know.
I was expecting to find something like that out. I will say the dude here they refer to as Brooklyn becomes a totally different character when he takes all that shit off.
Yeah.
Like,
But you know what he never stops doing is eating his fucking carrots. He has like a tin of
he
top
loves
carrots.
carrots.
His Altoids tin of carrot stick.
Yeah, it's so good. I wanted my opening bit this morning to be me just like biting a carrot really hard into the mic. Unfortunately, we are straight up out. I'm very sad.
We can always put it in post. People don't have to know. I love the world building here. I think they do so much with every set that they build in this, which like is great but terrible for their budget. Like we get the Mary Ann's logo, and then we see in the interior all of the sketches when they were trying to come up with what the logo would be.
Yeah, we have the Gajinka of the Mary Ann and the process by which this was created. Don't even worry, this plane does have a cute girl version.
We have the Stanley Cup filled with carrots, which is just great. And then we have the fridge.
Impeccable.
What's in that fridge?
Oh,
Carrots.
guns.
Guns and guns and guns. That's
I
where we
love
keep the
that.
guns.
There's so much cyberpunk, like, listen, to do cyberpunk, you can do a lot of signifiers, but, like, nothing reads as well as, like, having a repurposed appliance. Like, a repurposed appliance just always is gonna hit, especially if that repurposed appliance is full of guns. Like, it just rules.
Can I do my gun 5? Thanks for asking.
Yes.
I'm not.
Is this a
waiting for-
secure way to store your guns? If our listeners just have a fridge and 7 to 8 rifles, is this what they should do with it?
So sci-fi movies do this thing with guns where they will generally just take an actual gun and slap some blocks on it. And this movie does that. So Brooklyn has a Smith & Wesson M586, but the barrel is just this chunky modified thing.
It looks like, I will say, it looks like the revolver that Harrison Ford has in Blade Runner. It's got that kind of unified chunkiness.
Yeah. Sergeant Nim, it does have a Steyr AUG that she loses pretty quickly and mostly uses an H&K VP70, which is such an odd choice, but the VP70 has both an entire scope on it and then a thumb grip holder, and it's so wild.
What's that game I was watching you play?
This
was Alice
Generation
playing
Zero?
That Generation Zero game where she just like was this 11-year-old running around with a scoped, fully automatic assault rifle.
Yeah.
This is that.
Bancho uses a Remington M31 shotgun that we don't see much. Bebe uses one of the wildest ones, which is a Walther MPL, which is a submachine gun used in Eastern Europe. It's wild, but again, just blocks on blocks on blocks. 7 uses an M3 submachine gun, or the grease gun from World War II, which is odd. Bombay uses an M16A2 with an underslung grenade launcher. So at first I was like, oh, all of the weapons are like German manufactured Eastern Bloc weapons. And then this motherfucker comes up with that. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing with this.
They're choosing the guns that look the coolest.
Boxer uses a MAC-10 with an L-shaped magazine, which is style magazines work. And
it's the future times.
Future times.
You weren't in the fucking Robot Wars. You can't tell me how a magazine works.
And Barabbas uses an M60 machine gun, which we sadly only get to see him use once. Very sad. That's my gun 5, is that the guns in this are wild.
Thank you for the gun 5.
They greebled the shit out of these guns, let me tell you.
So we land at the top of the facility, coming in over cloud cover. I like the effects of using the plane, and they do some matte painting stuff with the different layers. It's very of its time. They land in a destroyed heliport, and what's my boy Brooklyn doing? He's plugging his headset into things.
You know, I love to plug my headset into things.
What are your thoughts on his weirdness with the headset? What do you guys take from that?
In the context of a bunch of the other montages of people doing engineering things in this movie, which include like putting needles in tiny holes and like apparently psychokinetically compelling a claw thing to open so that you can retrieve the orb from within. I think that it's like some kind of diagnostics thing he's able to do. I don't know. There's a guy, one of the guys has a lightsaber fucking lockpick. It is straight up a lightsaber.
It's very cool. I will say this is I will just say this is a deeply analog movie. They love their rocker switches. They love their like buttons. They love I love it. And you know what? At one point, somebody pulled out like VGA cables, and there were like 7 of them, and I was like, "Yes, the exact same way."
Robot Jocks is hell.
Yes, exactly.
This movie is holding hands with Robot Jocks.
Yeah, they're gently holding hands.
They're kissing. I do love Boomerang's little tech setup that she uses with the
She
fucking
has a cyber
scope.
deck. I love
It's
it.
so good.
She does.
But however, not everything is right. There's an exploded Texas Air Rangers ship not far off, and also a hole in the wall that was not there and is very recent, which we can tell because we have the how old is this hole detector.
It's called a thermal imager, and you can tell because holes naturally retain trace heat from when
Yeah,
they were
they do.
penetrated.
Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah. A resident hole expert, Nico, to tell us about hole heat.
We're on 8 Jack Off Island. I don't need this from you.
This is the worst. So we can kind of.
Oh God, we haven't talked about the biodroid.
Hey,
The biodroid is here.
so everybody starts getting picked off one by one, which shouldn't happen because Chiron 5 is deactivated. Oh no, a biorobot escaped from Dallas. Hey guys, the biorobot. What the fuck?
I don't know, Alice. You're gonna have to explain the biorobot to me. I did not know why the biorobot was here.
This
except
thing
it's cool.
freaks me out. It's genuinely scary.
How would you
this thing is
describe
scarier
this?
than the Predator.
How would you, like, it's obviously a guy in a suit body with, like, it looks like just your generic sci-fi jumper suit with gloves and boots, but that helmet.
The helmet, like gas
Insectoid.
mask looking, and then the eyes are like ovular and like sloped down and huge, and then they do a bunch of weird TV screen shit. It is very unsettling. I don't know.
Like, it looks like the bloated
As
fly man,
Flyface.
you know?
Yeah.
So a biorobot is a robot with biological components, Nico. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, but my understanding is that so they were using it in Dallas and it escaped with the sample of the Tex-Mexium, so it was called basically by Chiron to that island.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
So-
interesting. Okay, so I did get the story. Okay.
You got
Yes.
you picked up the threads. It basically
Putting it together.
humanity outside of this uses biorobots for industrial things, and this one went rogue, which is crazy because Tex-Mexium is involved.
Hey, if you want to read about why biorobots might be a bad idea, can I recommend to you The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells? Maybe we shouldn't give robots brains that can get depression. You know, maybe he was just having a little manic period and he stole the Tex-Mexium.
He was having a MTV.
He was having a mid-TB and he stole the Tex-Mexium.
I also want to talk. Sorry, I know I'm kind of all over the place.
That's
but
fine.
There's a sequence in here in this thing where everyone's getting picked off by the biodroid, where everyone has to hide from an evil Mint Milano.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any explanations for what's going on
So
here?
this was a mine. This is a sound detecting mine, which is really
Okay.
funny because it does move, which to me, mines like categorically don't move. They're just activated by something
This
and
is
they
a drone,
explode.
then,
It's
right?
basically a drone,
No,
but it's activated by sound.
My call for this is space mines, which will pull towards an enemy. It happens in other sci-fis, but yeah, this is the
Yeah.
stupidest thing. I called it the spicy almond because it looks like an almond on its side.
Y'all, it has a split in it. It's clearly a pistachio.
So also,
It's a Mint Milano cookie.
isn't a floating mine the worst thing to have in a factory full of loud sounds? Like, they are like holding their breath because it's supposed to be
Well,
sensitive to sound.
I think it's probably fine if you've mostly shut down the factory and you're a big evil AI and you want to kill anyone who tries to get to you. I think that's probably a good thing to deploy. But why was it in the toolkit is the question.
It's also just like from the sequence and the design and like the atmosphere of this thing is so incongruous. Like, this looks like an alien artifact from a billion years ago. Like, it does a weird thing where it like opens and has like a little Oculus thing in there that like scans. Like, it is nothing else looks or sounds or behaves like this.
I will say there is a very good comedy moment where I think it's Brooklyn who's like, these things are ancient, they don't even explode anymore, and he like bats it away and it falls like off the walkway, and then like after a beat it explodes and
I
he's
was
like, oh
hollering when that happened. So good.
shit. It was very good.
So we come across a Texas Air Ranger, Sergeant Nim. Hey, I have feelings for this woman.
Yeah, obviously you do. I have feelings for her patch. I want a Texas Air Ranger patch.
So she's very, very Major Kusanagi wearing skin-tight black leather suit with a bomber jacket over it that has Texas Air Rangers.
I gotta say, it looks really good.
She's rocking the hair.
She just looks good as hell in this movie. I'm me. And Yuri is in the wind through a blade of grass, but
she
also...
should kiss Bebe.
I know, I was like vibing them immediately. I was like, hello, and then Bebe gets got, spoilers, and I was like, oh, right. Heterosexuality, I forgot.
1989, we didn't have Yuri yet.
Anyway, she says the banger line, dead people aren't worth saving.
Yeah!
Oh man, this movie is just full of just banger lines, to be clear.
It's very good.
So, she's just laying there with a spike in her shoulder waiting to be saved. I don't know what that's about. The dramatic turn. So she's like, I'm here to do a thing. And they're like, we're just gonna follow you. We're looting people. And there's no tension with that at all, I'm sure.
Well, I think there's an interesting thing they set up, which is like they are bandits. They are here to steal from this place. And she is on a mission. And that sets up a tension that they grapple with like for a while after this.
Yeah.
There's definitely a sense where she has like professional aplomb, but she's also at a disadvantage because she's the only one left of her squad. So
yeah.
Same. So,
yep.
This is rapid pace because we're trying to get to the meat of the movie, right? So they get to the control room.
Barabbas gets killed in an elevator. They get to the control room.
Very sad. Elevators are cool. I love the use of matte painting to show the scale of this tower that they use in this scene. It's a very good. Like they blend it very well.
This is a gorgeous mega structure, a gorgeous horrific like. If again, I keep going back to Alien, but like there's that matte painting they have at the beginning, or maybe it's a model of the Nostromo, and it's just huge. And like throughout the movie, you slowly get the idea that it is huge as you go through more and more fucked up spaces with the alien. But like this also has the same kind of like we are dealing with a mega structure that hates you. It's really great.
It really is. But
they get to the goop core.
They get to the goop core, which, hey guys, OSHA exists. Put handrails on things. I don't care if it's a fully automated facility. Put handrails on things.
I think the biorobot deserves to have a safe work environment.
So things you hate to see in an evil facility, giant countdown timer. Like
70 CRT screens. I love it. Most of them just displaying a corporate logo. I love the idea that the corporate logo is just there.
Can we talk about the keyboard that the biorobot and everybody uses, which is just giant green switches with nothing on them? Watching them use this is like when people use keyboards without letters on the keys. I'm like, how do you know what you're doing?
This is exactly like when Hero is stopping the colony drop in Endless Waltz, and he just has this big panel of gray nothing, and apparently he's doing something to it.
It's really good. I love all this shit.
Oh shit, biorobot. Oh shit, things go wild.
Yeah, they go in there to get the chips, which are stored in a sort of crystal wand.
I cannot express enough how the central core plot MacGuffin structure of this film is two crossed girders over a pool of boiling goop, and on top of the girders is a Beyblade crystal. And you have to get the Beyblade crystal before the evil fly robot does.
Yeah.
Okay? I cannot stress the importance
and what's in the Beyblade? What's in the Beyblade crystal? Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize enough that this is the only movie ever made. And now I know I just said this because I just watched Roller Town with Brian, but there can be multiple only movies ever made.
And each genre gets one. So
if you watch Roller Town and then you watch Gunhed, your brain will take a screenshot.
This fight with the biorobot sets up the fact that why are you ever shooting the biorobot? It's not going to do anything.
Yeah. It drags Bebe into the goop, and where she tragically dies.
Like, dives into the goop, and pulls Bebe in. And sorry, Bebe.
I know, but you know what? She'll be reborn as like. Listen, if I die, I hope I fall into goop with a biorobot that in some way assimilates my consciousness. Okay.
So yeah, basically what happened to Bebe is she's now in the Lawnmower Man dimension.
Yeah.
And
You hate to see it. You hate to see a lesbian trapped in the Lawnmower Man dimension.
So one of the visual effects that they keep coming back to in this movie is the kind of blue electric currents that run over people, because sometimes those can kill you and sometimes they're good. And we don't really know when it is.
No, I feel like there's also red too. So it's like you could have used the red to mean this is bad, it can kill you, and the blue to mean this is good. But they don't. It is just sometimes it's red and sometimes it's blue and sometimes it's bad and sometimes it's good.
I think Chiron is allowed to have gamer RGBs. Like, keep them guessing. Like, have that shit modulate. They turned it off for battery saving, but at the peak of its performance, it was just doing a constant rainbow pulse.
Right.
Because Chiron 5 is also gay.
So we have a fight over the Tex-Mexium. This becomes the MacGuffin that everybody is fighting over for the whole movie. And then things go bad and we fall all the way to the bottom of the tower because, of course.
Listen, it's fine, though. It's fine for you to fall like 200 and bajillion stories because as long as you fall into water, you're fine.
Yeah.
So
this is known.
Brooklyn has a tearful memory, wakes up, and he's walking around this basement of rubble. And we meet Seven. This was weird. This was weird that he was just standing there in a suit, right?
Yeah, the kids have been creating their own little society in here, okay?
I want your reads on Seven. Let's just talk overall. Seven. How do you feel about this kid character?
Love Seven. Seven rules.
I love that he has a voice modulator on his suit so he can do remixes on the fly.
Yeah, the remixes are very good.
Of the Brooklyn one. Brooklyn.
It's Seven who is mute, right?
No, Seven's the younger one who talks and has a limp. 11 is mute. So 11 found Sergeant Nim, and 7 found him, and
yeah, they're in a scrapyard, and we find out the kids are the children of the. I think this is really funny because you mentioned before it's like there's minimal on-site staff. It seems like part of the minimal on-site staff were the custodians. Because these are told to be the children of custodians. And you know what? Nothing but respect for service workers and for sanitation workers who are surviving and thriving past the end of the world and having their kids form a new robot-based society.
Yeah. But don't worry, guys. We're going to split up by gender.
That's right. But first we have to build the jankiest jalopy you've ever seen. So how are we going to climb this tower?
We have to get back to the top of the tower. We got to get back to the top of the tower. I'm always saying this. You two look at me and I'm like, we got to get back to the top of the tower.
So, get your ass in the jalopy.
Oh my god, this is our first encounter, other than like when it was alluded to in the beginning, with Brooklyn being allergic to driving, which, relatable. Cars are scary.
So luckily, we do finally get back to the fact that this is a mech movie, and we find ourselves in Robot Graveyard 37 from the Robot Wars.
There's at least 37 robot graveyards in this tower.
Okay, I do love this junk room because it's another matte painting. It looks ginormous, and the roof is just trash chutes, and shit is still just falling out of them. It's so cool looking.
It takes a long time to clean up. Chiron's been working on it for a while.
So there's a flashing green light, and as we know, this means that there's a quest marker, and you should activate it. And this is where we learn that Brooklyn knows how to fuck. Because he's like, oh, I know that's a gunhead. We need a gunhead for reasons. And also, if you touch a part of the finger on a hand, you can activate a gunhead. There's like a safety switch in its hand.
Just finger your gunhead, and then it will activate.
So he's like, we gotta fix it, but we need a driver because I won't drive. To which Sergeant Nim gives the banger line, you fix it, you drive it.
I'm always saying this. Like, I didn't do the final touches on replacing the serpentine belt in my 1997 Jeep Grand Cherokee because I didn't want to have to drive it. So I just put the belt on and then I let Leah kind of handle the last of it. Okay. And that's why I've never gotten my driver's license.
First off, I love that for you.
Y'all, I'm trying. This year's the year. I will pilot the gunhead.
So,
we get this is the most gobbledygook them repairing the Gunhed is the most inexplicable thing.
So-
It's really funny. Brooklyn just randomly becomes a mechanic, and they're like, we need the Gunhed to get to the top of the tower.
No, he's always been a mechanic. That's his whole thing.
So he is obsessed with repairing this, and Sergeant Nim is like, no, we just need to climb the tower and get it back. So we split up by gender, who goes where. He's like, I just need 20 hours to fix this.
20 hours.
This, like, destroyed-ass machine. The shit that they are doing with parts is so funny. Like, this is a full car rebuild. He's like, no, I got it, 20 hours.
So this is where we get our first taste of why I'm going to love Gunhed 507, which is they get out a CRT monitor and they ask it to run simulations for them of what they can do. And so it starts running simulations, and it's like, I can come up with like 10,000 scenarios. And they're just like, give us your best one. And start to go over it, start to rebuild it. They'll have to manually pilot this because the AI can't handle it. This is the UHED Series 507. Why is it that? Because originally the world government was called the UHED, and eventually when it was codified, they then named these gunheads. So, fun little world building there. But, hey, we're going to talk about Titanfall 2.
Well, we're going to cover Titanfall 2.
Can we talk about
we
the
are.
relationship between 507 and Brooklyn, and as it evolves through this movie?
This is my favorite shit in the world. I love when a machine has an intelligence and it comes to love you. They're in love.
I'm so yaoi-minded about these two.
Yeah, I know. Yuri is when through the leaves of grass, and Yaoi is when your robot loves you.
So I do want to talk about this because it's not explicitly put into the movie, but the supplementary material has it. 507 is different than the rest of the 500 series. So this was a recon battalion that was sent in for the war. 507 was the leader of the battalion. And why 507 is unique is that it has a supercomputer in it.
Oh my
Hence
god.
why it needs
shit.
coolant. Now, the other 500 series did not have a supercomputer because of the shortage of coolant. So they could not equip those. So those all have computers with auxiliary computers running them. This is the only
My son is special.
supercomputer operated gunhead from that battalion. There were like hundreds of gunheads, but like this was one of the few that has its own brain, basically, which I think gives it a bunch of cool flavor of why this one is special that they found this one. So we're a Mecha podcast. We got to talk about that build screen. The CGI assembly screen showing the different parts, including left leg and right leg.
Listen,
No notes.
Armored Core is all over this. Like, this literally just reminds me of the wireframe
It
you see in
looks
the
like an
intro
Armored
to
Core.
Armored Core. Yeah. I love everything. Like, the way that this is written is kind of bizarre in the terms of, like, yeah, I'll just rebuild a whole intelligent tank right now in 20 hours. That's totally fine. Whatever. I don't care. It got us to the build sequence. They're handling tons of parts. They're climbing in and out of the cockpit. There's
Seven's
CRTs.
doing
There's
some
wires.
weird shit.
There's-
He's like hanging
yeah.
a rabbit's foot up for him. He's just having fun. Brooklyn's
And then
like,
you're getting the CGI, you're getting the like wireframe.
I just want to talk about a couple of things they're doing here. There's like one where like Brooklyn's like, quick, Seven, hand me this ripped, tattered end of a seatbelt from upside down. And again, like I mentioned earlier, there's like a weird moment where Seven is like, literally the scene is blocked as if he's like using the force to open one of Gunhead's hands. Like he's like doing the gestures for some reason. And so he can like retrieve something from it's so strange what counts as repairing a robot for the purposes of this film.
the one where Brooklyn climbs in head first into the cockpit holding what looks like the extension hose from a vacuum
Yeah.
that he then just sets to the side.
It's very good. In the far off future year of 2025, there's no way to know how electronics will work. There's no way to know.
Sick. This is all in service of the best thing in the world, which is when Gunhead just vertically wheels up the wall.
Oh, it's so good. They have a whole
so
sequence.
good.
They're trying to drive Gunhed up the tower. They need to get to a shaft.
So the first walk where he just is driving it and he's like having to learn how to use the controls, which can we talk about this cockpit, y'all?
This is wild. This is the
Holy
epitome
shit.
of there's like 3 CRT screens and like some grips that you have to use and everything is rocker switches. I love this shit.
But it's like a mix of fighter jet yokes. Yes. There's pipes with oil and shit.
Just in case we haven't talked about it yet, the Gunhead is basically like a tank with a torso and a head.
Its legs are really cool. I would encourage our listeners, obviously we'll have pictures on the site, but like it definitely has that armored core like tank body. Arms seem to be set up specifically just to use weaponry. There's shoulder mounted weaponry, which again, like huge armored core energy. That's a huge part of that is mounting your shoulder mounted weaponry. But it has like a split legged tank bottom, which is really cool. And it seems to have like that kind of like lever up and down thing to deal with terrain. I really liked it.
It specifically, so this is a Shoji Kawamori, so this is a transforming mech because he loves
I
that
was
shit.
saying, I assume even though we don't see it, I'm assuming it has the capability of standing up.
No, that is the standing mode. It's in the standing mode for a little bit of it, but it's mostly...
And then it turns into the tank.
Yeah. There is a third variant that we never see until the games, a hover mode that it has, but we don't see it
I
in
bet
the
that
movie.
uses so much whiskey.
So much. Yeah, so how do we climb up this tower? Drive forward, chain gun open a wall, drop it over to use as a bridge that then falls?
Well, yeah, I guess the idea was because they sunk some anchor points into the ceiling, and they're going to try to drive across, but, like, I'm sorry, a broken wall does not a load-bearing structure make, and it collapses out from under them, and they fall for a while. I did like the kind of Star Trek shit that the actor does in the cockpit. Every once in a while, when some shit happens to Gunhed, he just throws himself around in there.
So I love him when he's thrown in the cockpit. He has no seatbelt in there.
No seatbelt in there.
No helmet, nothing. My favorite thing, I don't know what the difference is. There's a way that this looks better in Star Trek, but in this he is so clearly just like throwing himself around.
Including ending up
probably
upside down at one point, but he's just like obviously crawling.
Have you seen those edits where they like force the camera to stay still in Star Trek so you can see how it's just everyone stumbling around?
We need that for this.
It looks like that.
I feel like there was a disconnect between the action shots they ultimately used and the direction he was given, because I think the way that looks authentic is if you see the robot move a specific way and the actor moves in the same way, which often the robot will move one way and he moves like a completely different way. And that's part of the reason this just doesn't read correctly. He's just bouncing all around instead of just like, hitting the ceiling or something.
So something that I really think is kind of unique about Gunhed is we're calling it a tank. It does just have wheels, though. It doesn't have treads at all. It's wheeled.
It looks like Eureka 7 mechs in their car mode.
I will say, when it started ascending, this is the official marker moment for me, when it starts ascending the chute, because it falls down the chute and finally Brooklyn is able to get it to stop its descent. So it braces against the walls and stops itself. When it started ascending by having its legs pushed out against the walls and then rolling upwards, and it starts rapidly ascending. One, I popped. Two, I immediately opened a new tab and started Googling Gunhed model kit. And for me, that is when I know the mechs fuck. When I immediately am just like, all right, and where do I buy one of these little motherfuckers?
For viewers at home, you can buy a kit of this from Kotobuki. It's about $110.
I know.
Once again, we're moving units. Bandai wears a sponsorship.
Yeah.
I want to talk about my favorite scene in this movie. This is so fucking funny to me. They're ascending the tower. I don't remember the exact logistical context. The important thing you need to know is that Gunhed can only fire into a small room. So Brooklyn runs out and puts a bunch of prisms all over the walls so that when Gunhed fires its lasers...
That happens a little later, but there is a major laser refraction sequence, and it's so funny. It's so wild.
It's so good.
He takes them, he's putting them up, and it's literally just light refractors so they can shoot red laser and green laser. And then Brooklyn like gets the coolant and is doing some shit. But then, the aerobot no, it's not even an aerobot. It's like a defense system breaks through a wall and starts shooting lasers back through the same reflectors at Gunhed.
So what's happening at this point? We have our two teams. Nim is ascending the tower and being hunted by the biorobot. That's not something we really touched on because I'm going to be honest with you, it's not very cool. It's a lot of the biorobot running like a search sequence that you see on screen and like trying to find them. And at some points jabbing the Tex-Mexium into its body to like power up or whatever. Anyway, the biorobot's hunting them. But the thing with Gunhed is it needs coolant, so they have to stop regularly wherever there's a coolant depot and basically gas up on the way up the tower. And so they do the prism sequence when Brooklyn has to get out to go find some more tanks of coolant.
But it's weird because they also say like, oh, I also need fuel, so we're gonna have to stop and get fuel. But also the coolant, it's wild. I do wanna the other part of this ascension scene. So he also uses 2 winches, which don't work, but then he has to use the rocket booster. But Seven, being Seven, as he's coming back up, jumps out onto Gunhed as it's ascending, and Gunhead's like, hey, they shot an optical missile at us, and Brooklyn's like, what the fuck is an optical missile?
It's really good. There's this whole threat sequence.
And it's like, I can't use the booster because Seven's on the outside. And he's like, Seven, you've got to climb up and get out of the way. Be a man. And Seven says back, even a woman couldn't do it.
You know what? Feminism. Snaps for Seven.
Snaps for Seven.
This laser reflection thing is just very fun. We also get let's try out tank mode, which we then stay in for the rest of the movie.
It is a cool transformation sequence, and I can't believe that they actually built Tankhead and it actually transformed. That's fun. I'm kidding.
Other things that I really like from a mecha perspective, during this ascension, obviously the Gunhed is taking damage throughout this movie, and how they reflect it isn't on the actual model of the Gunhed, because that shit costs too much money. It's by damage in the cockpit. And there's a specific scene where he's in the cockpit and they take a laser and it like busts open a pipe and it's just like spraying air. And Brooklyn just like looks over at the left and it's just like, he like tries to like tap it to stop it and it doesn't. And he's just like, I live this way now. There's also a scene where there's an oil leak and oil is coming down off a pipe and he just leans into the shot and looks at it and then leans back away.
I've had the movie in a tiny corner just like running quietly, and that scene happened a couple minutes ago and I was struggling not to laugh.
It's really good. It's real owns a shitty car but doesn't know anything about cars energy, which is funny because he is a mechanic. But also it's just like, wow, that just started making a rattling noise. I don't know what it's about. Well, guess I live like that now.
Gunhed is just like the 1993 Honda Accord I had in college, where pieces of plastic were falling off of the undercarriage and dragging along the road, and I never did anything about any of them.
Oh my Jesus Christ. So real, so real. So we then get to the oil canal with the banger line, if I knew it was going to be there, I wouldn't have gone this way. Hey, says 507.
It's called the oil canal.
The oil canal is probably one of my favorite of the Ascension sequences. So Gunhed is just like zigzagging through this oil and shooting defense lasers on the roof at the same time. I don't know. It's pretty cool looking.
It looks cool.
It looks cool.
When did
Once
they
again,
get
though,
the-
it's very...
When did they get
ahead.
the whiskey? I'm
After
trying
this.
to remember.
Right after this. I just wanted to point out that Brooklyn repeatedly says the cockpit is not airtight, and yet
507 is just like,
Gunhed is like completely submerged
going.
for like
he literally
multiple
says, you're not,
seconds.
I don't think you're airtight. I don't think you're submersible. And Gunhed just goes for it.
Gunhead's like, I'll tell you what I can do, bitch.
You don't know what I
Right
got.
after this is my favorite note I wrote, which is, wow, I'm glad that Chiron made sure that every room was accessible by a giant robot mech and level.
Listen, if every room in your building is accessible by a giant robot mech, that means it's accessible by a person in a wheelchair. And I think, frankly, all American structures should be built this way. I think all wheelchair users should have a chain gun so they can shoot through the walls. and then all of the floor should be level.
Brooklyn gets knocked out at some point during here when they get missiles fired, and 507 is just like, hey, you're gonna have to manually aim to shoot back at these missiles. And Brooklyn's just passed out and just wakes up and just sees the screen. He's like, oh yeah, I gotta shoot back, like right back into it. But this man gets beaten in this cockpit.
2 boy failures, just boy failing together.
Hey, there's a tunnel up ahead and it's in a circular shape. How do we do this Death Star run?
We charge.
We go around
There's
the
some great-
circle. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
There's some great missiles flying down hallways in this part too. Just great shots of missiles. You love to see missiles, honestly.
It's very
But
good.
then they run into the problem. They're running low on either coolant / fuel. We aren't sure. And they get to a point, and it's so funny because Brooklyn's like, from this point on, I'll have to go it alone. And the robot's like, no, don't leave me. It's really good. It's this whole sequence. The robot's basically trying to convince him there are barrels of whiskey, and the barrels of whiskey have 7 and 11 written on them. Are these kids drinking whiskey?
Are you
We're going to
not?
talk about the subplot
No.
because I had a question for both of you. So when the bio robot is, well, we can just do it. Here's about spoilers. When did you pick up that one of the kids was actually a robot?
I never picked that up. I knew
never
that
picked that up.
11 had something in the mouth that was like preventing speech.
So
But
I'm going to pull back all of the threads on this for you. So when the bio robot is scanning the system, it notes that there are only 3 biosignatures.
I remembered that. I thought it was that it was getting a wrong read on one of the kids.
When 7 is telling them about the supplies, he says, anytime you look for food, 7 are the edible ones. Don't eat the ones with an 11 on them. Because it's not real food, basically, is the implication. And then 11's markers is just whiskey because it's fuel that you can use.
Oh, well, that's interesting, and I will probably note more on a second watch. But I missed it the first time. I did not catch that.
And then there's the note, the keyword was spoken 13 years ago, and 11 is 13 years old and can't speak. So basically, 11 is the key to all of this, and is a
11's glowing mouth is the key. There's a couple the gunhead shit is always the best shit. Every time we switch to the biodroid shit, I'm like, whatever. But I do want to point out, I know that shooting the biodroid doesn't do anything, like bullets just don't do anything to it. However, I do want to point out that Nim shoots at it in like a cardboard box sized room and just misses every shot. Like, it's not that it's impervious in that scene, it's that she misses every shot.
Listen.
The Texas Air Rangers have fallen so far from grace.
They really have. She did take a spike through the shoulder, which is just never commented on.
No, but they healed it with the spray.
That effect is so
It's so bad, but it's so good.
I want to give credence to a science fiction wound closing spray or like Star Trek like light thing.
Yeah. I always love to see that.
If you use that like on your mouth or your eyes or your butthole, would it close it up?
We're asking the real questions on OSG Pod. I'm excited for the next Hugo Award winner to answer this question.
See, I think it doesn't because it coagulates the blood, but then that adds in the layer of like, what if I had anal fissures that I used it on? Would it seal my entire asshole?
It does add in that question, doesn't it, my co-host?
I see why Giant Robot FM says we're unhinged.
Off to get my cyberpunk reparative colonoscopy.
Anyway, you gotta refuel the gun head. You put the whiskey barrel on the gun head. I need everyone to know on the model that you can buy for too much money, for $110, it has the whiskey barrel strapped to it. FYI, which is what makes it worth $110.
That actually does make it worth that.
It's so good.
Yeah, that actually makes it that.
So I love this line by 507 where he says, "We've got to get ready. Something fabulous is coming this way. Cue the Aerobot." Let's talk about it.
Aerobot confirmed gay.
The Aerobot is the deity of the tower and what defeated the Gunhead battalions.
It's the Minotaur.
Wait. Have we passed the point where 507 gives Brooklyn a pep talk using baseball shit that Brooklyn doesn't know anything about?
No, that's during the Aerobot fight, I think. Yes, it's absolutely during the Aerobot fight.
Let's discuss the Aerobot. So the Aerobot is a manufacturing robot. It has 3 modulating gripper arms, and then a 3-eye head that also is a powerful laser. And then it has a weird piston on the back that just is ramming its asshole constantly.
Clearly it's pneumatic. That's why it's an Aerobot. That's what powers it.
Stop this. We see so many dark, like, inscrutable shots of this thing's, like, core body structure. There are so many things moving that don't appear to be conducive to, like, any structure. There's a piston on the back that's just going up and down all the time. There's a couple belts that are just revolving.
That's why 507 said something fabulous is coming. Aerobot knows about just, like, stunting to stunt.
That's the cunt piston.
So here's what I'll say about Aerobot. Aerobot was one of the biggest problems in production because it's a hoverbot. And they talked a lot in the making of about how lifting this with cranes to make it look like it was hovering and using smoke machines to cover the fact that there's a crane in the background was one of the biggest problems with shooting this fight.
Hey guys, I know you worked really hard on that, and I'm really sorry that you wasted your time because at no point does this thing look like it's floating.
You cannot tell. No, I did not know that this bot was supposed to be flying. This is a new revelation to me.
Yeah, this is hovering the whole time. So I do want to talk about the first fight between the two of them, which is they're jousting, right? They're just on opposite sides of a jousting track.
Yeah.
And this is when I said,
it rules.
Oh, I forgot that this is of its era. This fight is a lot of dark shots of models touching each other gently.
Yeah, they're being pushed into each other.
It's tokusatsu. You gotta mash into each other. You gotta stand still on a level playing field and fire your guns repeatedly at each other, just standing completely still, Gundam heavy arm style.
It's so good. But then we get the Gunhed checking on Brooklyn to make sure he's okay. Like, hey, you good, boss? We got to get into this. And then he says, come on, Brooklyn, it's the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs.
And Brooklyn's like, I don't know what that means because I don't actually know what baseball is. I'm just wearing this shirt, which is the most, like...
But we do get him singing the da-da-da-da-da-da-cha.
I just... None of this makes sense, but I love this.
This is when Brooklyn has to get out of Gunhed, right?
A little before this, so the Aerobot breaks into the cockpit is the last thing I want to give this because it's a really cool scene.
Oh, yeah. It looks cool.
And then 507 is like, we've got to separate. And Brooklyn's like, jumps out, and let's talk about the window scene of this movie. This is the Robot Jock's window scene of, this is obviously done in post-processing.
Oh, yeah, when he runs past.
Runs past the fight.
He's so
speaking of Robot Jocks,
superimposed.
he has to run out and go and manually aim the, like, rail cannon at Aerobot. What does he say when they fire?
He fucking says Geronimo.
He fucking says Geronimo. That's fucking right. He says Geronimo.
This is the only movie ever made.
There's no way this gun doesn't weigh a ton, by the way.
I like that he at least struggles with it. There's a very funny foreshadowing bit earlier on when it was suspended to be mounted on Gunhed, where he like pretends to aim it on his shoulder, and it's easy to do because the gun is suspended. That's in the junkyard sequence. And this time the gun, I think it was like torn off of Gunhed. And so he's having to manually push it, and like the way that like, listen, sometimes your boyfriend carries burdens for you, but when he can't carry those burdens for you anymore, you have to manually align the gun and fire it for him.
And yell Geronimo.
Sometimes holding space is holding a 20mm Vulcan cannon.
Gently and creepily reaches out to hold your
Yaoi
cannon.
is stored in the 20mm Vulcan cannon.
It's your standard issued big gun.
It's so good. It's actually, I really like that sequence.
So I do want to talk about the arena that this is in. So the Chiron 5 supercomputer is obviously kept in a liquid container, which we see the top of is where they're always fighting.
Obviously.
It's liquid cooled like any gamer
And they're
computer.
like, it's basically how Gunhed wins is he just rams the aerobot into the supercomputer chassis and holds it there so Brooklyn can shoot one of the 3 glowing eyes, which, as we know, if you shoot the 3 glowing eyes, you can defeat the aerobot.
Yeah. We all knew this.
We all knew this.
And then they have to go up and have the confrontation. Hey, what you doing with that glowing mouth, 11?
Oh my god,
What that
this was
glowing
so
mouse
strange.
What that glowing-
No!
So
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
so the biorobot is trying to activate this, and it's like, oh, you can't because the keyword needs to be used. The
I
keyword.
will say there's an interesting thing that's been happening since Bebe died, which is every once in a while there's like a flash of Bebe in
yes.
the eyes of the biorobot. So the implication is that like
Baby lives in there.
yeah, when the biorobot dragged Bebe into the cooling fluid to kill her, like she got superimposed into it somehow. So she's locked in there.
I like Brian's lawnmower, man.
Yeah. She's in the lawnmower man dimension in the biorobot.
And there are a couple of scenes where like she affects its arm so it doesn't shoot them, or she's helping throughout the movie.
Yeah, she's nerfing the bottom a little bit.
So
nerfing
Brooklyn
it.
finally uses his pistol that he's been playing with this whole time, and you'll never guess it does nothing against the biorobot. They're all going to die to the biorobot, and what happens? Baby realizes that she's in the shadow realm of the biorobot, and she still has all of her grenades.
She has to detonate the dream grenade in the lawnmower man dimension so that the
But I
bio
do
droid
like that
will
at the
overload
last
and
moment
just
she
and
takes
explode.
over control of the biorobot, and it just stops, and she just like waves with the robot's hand like, I got this, and then blows up.
This too is Yuri. No, it is really funny. It's like, damn, I don't know how to stop this from happening. What if I make freaking killed myself in the lawnmower man dimension?
They say something very cute about saving 11, and then, hey, guys, what do you get if you're the hero?
You get an obligatory heterosexual kiss.
And also 10 seconds to live.
Okay, here's what I'll say. This is some good shit. Why are self-destruct sequences so long? If it's trying to kill itself, it's like 10 seconds and it's gonna blow itself up.
No. I totally get what you're saying here. But also we get the turnabout is fair play on that, which is why does ramming yourself into the control tower make the timer 15 minutes now?
Gunhed tackles the tower and is like, I bought you 15 minutes. What?
He tackles it. I have to say, I love it. They're evacuating.
Thank you for your brave sacrifice.
Thank you, Gunhed. We are saluting the camera.
Also, it goes into like fast mode. He's like, I got you 15 minutes. Cut to them flying away as it explodes.
Yeah, they just skip this part. It's fine. You don't need to see them
it's
evacuate.
great.
There's no tension to be found
There's
there.
a couple of other things in this movie that I want to highlight. Seven's garden that he puts 508's head into.
Oh, yeah, that made me emotional.
And then them using the 508 head that fell through the garden as a way to defeat the aerobot. I enjoy the using another gunhead camera as a tool. That's a really cool little, like, very convoluted the way they get to it, but I enjoy that. As well as 508's cameras. I love his mast pull camera that he uses most of the time. I think that's very cute. He also has the hand camera that he like uses to look at Brooklyn and stuff. There's just little things with this design that they show and don't tell him doing things that I really enjoy.
And I will say, in the closing sequence, they're flying away. Nim is flying initially, but she offers to hand off to Brooklyn to show his character growth. But the most important thing, they get a message from 507, and it says, the Gunhed mission has been completed. And y'all, that did get me. I was like,
They got me.
The Gunhed battalion mission is now complete because
Here lies a patriot.
Here lies a fucking patriot.
So is there anything else in this movie that we didn't touch on that you guys want to highlight? Any of the small moments, any of the characterizations, anything about the set design, music, anything that we didn't touch on?
A real quick one.
Go.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you ever put a 60s Pepsi machine on like a dolly track and like launch it at your actor?
I can't believe we forgot about the Pepsi robot.
I gotta add this to the Mech ratings 1 second.
Yeah, we need the Pepsi
That's a
robot.
little
What is it
arm.
called? It's the Cola Robot Pepsi Edition, right?
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
on, I have it. Robo Cola. No, this is important. It's Robo Cola, comma Pepsi type.
Thank you for getting that correct, because our audience does want us to be as accurate as possible when talking about
It's so important. That's why we had the
merchandising.
Gun 5 and the Pepsi Robot 5. I love that. It's a jump scare is my favorite bit. And at one point, one of the crew just like grabs the Pepsi it hands him and like props it between a guy and his gun sight in a way that is so funny.
He also then says, hey, 20-year-old Pepsi.
It's probably fine. It's aged like a fine wine.
Nico, anything that we didn't talk about in this film? I feel like I gave my wife enough credence. Do you need to talk about my Texas Ranger wife?
I love that Nim is a Texas Ranger. I don't recall her having a strong Texas accent, but I think that that's fine. You know what? It's enough that she actually sounded like competent. Everyone sounded competent in the languages they spoke, which was nice. I will say, I love every interaction between like 507 and Brooklyn. They immediately have like this like buddy cop dynamic. And that's why I mentioned Knight Rider before. There's definitely like a little bit of a Knight Rider vibe. Like, this is me in my car that whips ass. And
Me when I'm in my car that whips ass.
It just rules. I love their interactions, especially when, because the whole thing about like we're in the bottom of the ninth and there's 2 outs. Preceding this is a whole bunch of historical baseball information that 507 rattles off about the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah, he's like, that game from '68 where the blah blah blah. Like,
He's like expecting Brooklyn to know about baseball, and it's so funny. It's so your boyfriend is info dumping and you don't understand it, but you're like wanting to be supportive because you know that this is supposed to mean something to you. It's so good. I'm glad the robot has autism.
I wish we could just have also, Gunhed speaks in English. Thank you for asking. I wish we could have every single Gunhed quote in order here, because it does. I mean, it's Titanfall 2, but cooler. But my favorite is they're talking about their odds of succeeding and Sergeant Nim succeeding and defeating the biorobot, and Gunhed said, odds don't mean anything when humans want something bad enough. And I love
that's
it.
so. Oh, I missed that line. That's everything. That's everything. That's all mech shit.
Gunhed the computer, the AI, also pronounces nuclear.
Yeah, for some reason in my mind, I thought that Bush was the reason that people said that. No, people have been saying that
No,
forever.
apparently that's just been a thing.
I hate this. Anyway, Gunhed, problematic fave.
Speaking of problematic faves, guys, there's one thing we have to do on this fucking podcast. We gotta
Let's
rate
go.
those goddamn mechs. So our mechs in contention are going to be the UHED Gunhed Unit 507. And you can talk about the rest of the Gunhed Battalion, we sort of know, as well as the Aerobot, which I'm considering a mech being piloted by Chiron 5. So those are the 2 that we're going to consider.
What about the Pepsi robot piloted by Pepsi?
You want to put it in there, you can. I'm not.
That's why the
considering
Pepsi
it.
isn't stale and it stays carbonated. It's a constantly recirculating Pepsi bloodstream.
You're insane. Did we mention that the biodroid is kind of piloted by Bebe?
Yeah,
I would consider
say
that.
That's interesting. It's either piloting or possession, which is a narrow. It's like a thin line.
I feel
We've
like
talked about this.
in the year of the shell, it needs to be considered too, because
That's
of
fair.
the
That's
conversations we're having this year.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Brian, let's start with you.
I struggled to think of notes or criticisms of Gunhed as a mech, and I can't think of any. This is a 10. This thing rules so fucking much. It can run on whiskey. It fires laser through prism.
All right, Nico.
Okay, so taking everything into account, we've talked before, military hardware isn't my favorite type of mech. My favorite type of mech, of course, is construction or civil engineering hardware. But I get a little bit of that with the Aerobot. Obviously, it was designed as a manufacturing robot. Everything, of course, like we mentioned, this movie is very dark. Everything is just very dark toned. So it muddles the action a little bit, and also just when you look at the model, the only criticism I have of the Gunhed model is that it's just like, it's so drab. Like the brightest point on it are some of its white accents and the whiskey barrel. Like it's really like, they're really dark machines. Whereas like, contrast this with another one I gave like a really high score, even though the show was shit, Synduality. Unfortunately, I hate that we watched that one, but it's become such an important text in me doing my ratings because it was definitive, like, show sucks, Mechs rule. I really like the colors, obviously, in Synduality a lot more, but Gunhed is yaoi.
Gunhed is yaoi. Gunhead's a character.
It's so good. It's like I said, it's my favorite type of mech stuff. I love when the mech is a being that can love you back. Like I love that. And that line about like when a human wants something very badly, like the odds don't matter, like, oh, that's everything. And I, of course, like I said, I was weak to, I see a vaguely lesbian looking woman. I see a woman with a short haircut in a film and I'm like, mine, that one's mine. So like Bebe's whole thing with the biorobot hit me. I think in a way, maybe it didn't hit everyone where I was like, God, she's still in there and she's still fighting. Like, I love it. I love it.
Oh,
and cassette,
Yuri is stored in the dream grenade.
Yes! So much of my favorite shit is going on here. And to top it all off, it's cassette futurism, which is like my favorite aesthetic. I love a rocker switch. I love a big light up plastic button. Like, it's good. I will give this an 8. I need to give this a 9. It's only imperfect to me because everything's a little drab. Otherwise, like, if we had like 20% more neon in the cyberpunk, I would be losing my mind. But as it is, I really love this, and I'm so grateful that Alice brought this to my attention. I'd never heard of this fucking thing. It's so good. Watch it right now. Email Alice.
Watch it immediately.
Email Alice for a VHS to be sent to your home. Oh my God. Alice.
I'm obviously going to come in very, very positive on this just because I did bring this to us. The Gunhed does everything I want in a mech. Where it fails is we don't in this movie get to see it be in standing mode as much as I like, and the fights are of the era. I feel like this is, however, not enough to really hurt it for me because they do enough cool shit with this where like the whiskey barrel, the coolant stuff, the cockpit, they show him going in and out of the cockpit and it's a functional hatch, which is something that I just really love. Like, he literally has to get the 20mm Vulcan to lift up so he can get in it. Like, Shoji Kawamori speaks to me in a guttural way that I can't stop. The
So true.
Aerobot as a villain, I think works really well in what it is doing. I cannot get over the giant hydraulic piston just pounding its own asshole over and over again. I think it's amazing. Biorobot, love the Bebe subplot. I love that whole weird thing. But the Gunhed itself, like, we talk a lot about the concept of your co-pilot being the mech itself, and it's great for me for when the mech can actually interact. And the fact that this is, I don't even see this as an AI because, like, in Titanfall 2, it's very rigid and it doesn't kind of get outside of its operating system. But the Gunhed in this is, like, trying to connect with him, and it knows human knowledge. And it's like, yes, I am a computer who can run simulations, but also, hey, Brooklyn, you told me to take this path, so you're gonna have to fucking deal with it if you drown in there. Just little notes like that just make it really good. And then the fucking sell-off of the Gunhed battalion winning by the end of this is just so... It hits me in a way that I love. You know I'm a Milsim nerd. You know I love the standing man emoji with camo. We're saluting the Gunhed, and this is a 10 out of 10 for me, baby.
Okay, I'm upgrading mine to a 10. I mentally decided if Alice gave it a 10, we are giving this a Hyakushiki because it is the most important.
This is a Hyakushiki deserver.
Yes, it is. That's why I was like... I knew if Alice gave it a 10, I was going to upgrade mine to a 10 because I'm like, yeah, no, it deserves it. It deserves it.
And I do think if we ever touch on the other material, it's only going to make that 10 more solid. But just in this movie alone, fuck the Gunhed owns. It is so fucking cool. We lost so much amazingness by this movie fucking failing. And when I buy my kit and it gets here, I'm going to put some neon on it just for Nico.
Oh, fuck. I was already thinking I would do a custom paint. Like, alternate universe where they managed to extract the Gunhed core and they took it with them and then they rebuild it somewhere else so it has, like, street style. Like, oh.
Well, that has been Gunhed, so we're going to head to a quick break, and then I'm going to subject my friends to a game. So let's head to the break. Hey guys, Alice here. Thanks for listening to On the Shoulders of Giants. We're really happy you're here, but if you know anybody who might be interested, we'd love if you share our work with them. If you are enjoying what we're doing, maybe send us a message, or what would really help us out is if you leave a review online. Really, a lot of the algorithms will push people down if they don't have reviews, so it really helps if you just go and write something on the internet. Heck, we might even read one on the podcast if it's really nice and makes our hearts go doki doki. So if you could do that, maybe do it, and thanks again for listening. Now, back to the show. Welcome back from the break. I'm gonna need you both to go to Roll20.
Oh my
fuck.
god.
All right. The name of this game is Shoji Kawamohuti. We're playing Jehudi Shoji Kawamori Edition.
Fuck. What does that mean? What's Jehudi?
Do you not remember Jehudi, which Brian subjected us to?
Oh, right. Jehudi. Okay, I remember Jehudi. Do we have a link? Or are you just gonna beat us to death?
Go to Roll20.
I'm in Roll20.
The gay space one.
Oh, everyone, as they know, should have an all-purpose, like Roll20 gaming space called Gay Space.
You should have that.
Yeah, you should have that. This is not an endorsement for Roll20, by the way. Roll20 is janky.
So, listeners might remember that a while ago, Brian made us play Jehudi while they were working on their cookbook. I have taken that concept and I have created the Shoji Kawamori Jehudi board. There are 5 categories to choose from: Shoji Facts, Shoji Designs, Shoji Quotes, Shoji Productions, and Shoji Macross. The Macross is going to be the hard category for you guys. I'm just going to tell you right up there because I know who I'm about.
This looks so good. By the way, as listeners are probably aware, we are all visual architects, and this is an incredibly evocative and sophisticated board game that we've created here.
People don't have to see this shit.
I'm taking a screenshot.
I definitely think it's
Pretty simple. Pretty simple concept, right? The game. So Shoji Facts are going to be facts about Shoji himself, not always about his mecha, but I try to keep them about mecha. Designs are talking about the many designs he is accredited to. Shoji Quotes, these are all from an interview he did with fullfrontal.mo back in 2019. Shoji does a lot of great interviews. I only wanted to pull from one. Shoji Productions. This is talking about all the different productions he's worked on in the mecha space. And then Shoji Macross is Macross-specific questions that deal with Macrosses that Shoji worked on. These are going to be hard mode because I did pull some of these that I'm pretty sure none of you know, but the listeners might if they've watched Macross.
I might not know any of this shit.
So
Yeah, they might be stupid as shit.
same. Okay. Jeez. Christ.
There we go. I finished my modifications.
One of you has to be in charge of tracking points, by the way.
Brian, you want to
God.
do that? I've made modifications.
Yeah, can you strike off the things as we get them then?
Yeah.
Okay. Team effort, just so we don't take time. So, instead of if you get it right, you get to go again, it goes to the next person because we don't want somebody to clear the board, obviously. Even though I don't think either of you could. Wait, when we played Jehudi last time, did we have that you could keep going?
No, we
Okay.
didn't.
I just want to make sure we had the same rule. So, we're going to go, one of you goes. If you get it right, you get the points. If not, the other person can't steal because it's Jehudi. That's not how it works. But then we'll just go to the next person. We're going to start, as always, alphabetically. Brian, you're up first. Choose a category and choose a point.
Oh god. Shoji Productions for 200, please.
All right. Oh, and Jehudi rules, you have to answer in the form of a question because I
Yes.
lost a lot of points when we played this because of that. So I'm doing it to you.
Yeah.
All right. This is Shoji's most well-known franchise.
What is Macross?
That is correct. 200 Evo points to you. Nico, you're on the board.
I will take let's do Shoji Designs for 200.
Shoji is the lead mechanical designer of this anime about surfing.
Oh, fuck. Oh, wait. Oh my god. I'm accessing the Lawnmower Man dimension.
Is Baby there?
What is Eureka 7?
That is correct. The look on Brian's face when he heard that and he locked in and you didn't immediately shout it out, I think Brian had palpitations.
I've never seen it. I had to remember Brian talking about the skyfish.
I
had to access
happy
the
you got
Lawnmower
that
Man
one.
dimension.
Because I was like, if Brian gets this, it's easy. If Nico gets this, she might not get it. All right.
It's Horde Mord.
Brian, back to you.
Shoji Productions for 400.
This Western franchise is Shoji's biggest overseas production credit.
What is Robotech?
Incorrect.
Oh,
The correct
damn.
answer is, what is Transformers?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
shit.
Real ones know
You're
that
so
Shoji
right.
is credited with the design of Convoy,
I'm a dumb bitch.
aka Optimus Prime in truck mode.
And also, what's his name? Magnet? Ultramagnet?
Ultramagnet.
Ultramagnet.
Also, Robotech is Eastern. That's a Japanese production. Anyway,
No, but it's what's Macross is called in America.
you're right.
So I thought it was a trick question.
For 400?
I thought you were deceiving me.
Trick questions don't come up to 800 Evo coins, I'll say that. Nico, you're
Can
up.
I get a Shoji quotes for 200 Evo coins, please?
For this portion, I will read the quote and then the question. I wanted to have a main character who didn't pilot the robot, so I created blank. Shoji said this about the famous mecha heroine and Alice's waifu.
Oh, fuck. I don't keep up with Alice's waifus. Shit.
Wow, bad person alert.
What's her face from Escaflowne?
Brian, I want you to rule. Does Nico get that?
I think so.
All right.
I'm sorry, I don't remember her name.
Hitomi.
Hitomi.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that is about Hitomi. Shoji is credited with the idea of mecha anime focused on non-combatants as the main character. All right,
King.
Brian, back to you.
Shoji Productions for 600.
You're just going. You're down this road.
This was the second anime in which Shoji deployed mecha and not just vehicle designs.
Oh god, I'm trying to access the Lawnmower Man dimension and failing.
Baby, please.
I don't know if you'll get this one.
Oh, what is Macross 7? I don't know. That's definitely not it.
The answer is Crusher Joe, which
Oh, I don't.
look up those designs real quick. I just need you.
Oh yeah, no, I know Crusher Joe. I just never would have
That
thought
was
of
his.
that. I did not know
was
that was
right after Macross. That was his second one that had actual mecha.
Can this stop showing me? Okay, this is obviously the art inspiration for Geki Ganger in fucking Mark's successor to Desco, but can I see the
All
mech?
right, Nico, back to you.
Yo, what?
Yeah, they're fucking
Oh my
banger,
God.
right?
I love this. Okay. Okay. Let's do Shoji designs for 400.
Shoji's first big splash into transforming mechs.
Oh, Macross?
I'll give it to you. It is the first Macross, aka Super Dimension Fortress Macross.
Okay.
She didn't say like a question though.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. I don't get those points. I did not say it. I think I just said Macross.
Macross.
Macross. Okay, Brian, back to you.
Shoji Productions for 800. I'm bombing.
Brian's just hoeing that whole row.
This discontinued toy line that tried to compete in Japan with the Transformers line was designed in part by Shoji.
Fuck, I have no idea.
The answer is Diaclone. It only existed for 4 years.
Damn.
Diaclone.
R.I.P. Diaclone.
R.I.P. Diaclone.
Both of us immediately.
Jesus Christ. It died in the 70s. Get over it.
All right, I'm gonna execute Brian in the street like a dog. Can I get Shoji Productions for 1,000?
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this bullet from Brian so he can stop, so he can get a question.
This 78 episode, 2015 production, CGI and model based show Amazon Prime revival series really benefited from Shoji's mechanical designs. So again, that's a
Amazon
78
Prime
episode
revival
show made for Amazon Prime using CGI and models created in 2015.
Fuck. I just really don't. That's so funny because that's such a blank spot era for me, and especially in the Amazon Prime productions. I'm just gonna guess and say this was a Transformers animated show.
Wasn't a question and also wrong. The answer
Yep.
is the reboot of Thunderbirds Are Go.
What the fuck?
Go look up a fucking trailer of that right now if you want to know. It is wild. You know,
Oh my god.
Team America World Police. Same vibes.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Shoji, no.
78 episodes made. Critically
Oh my
acclaimed
God.
children's show.
It's a lot.
So we're gonna
That's
have to
a
cover
lot.
it. All right, Brian, back to you.
Oh, I'm free now. Can I get Shoji designs for 600?
You're not free.
Shoji's deft hand was the key to the design of these Gundams and helped to make this series Alice's #1 favorite Gundam.
Ooh, now this is not just a question about Shoji Kawamori. This is a question about your friend Alice.
Can I get the question one more time?
Shoji's deft hand was the key to the design of these Gundams and helped to make this series Alice's #1 favorite Gundam.
What is Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory?
Correct!
Oh!
You listened. You remembered.
Excellent work.
Thank you so
Excellent
much.
work.
All right. Nico, back to you.
Okay. Can I get Shoji facts for 200 Evo coin, please?
Shoji is most often credited with this title on the productions he works on.
Mechanical design. What is mechanical designer?
Almost got you. Yep, that is correct.
Almost.
He is
Yay!
most often credited as a mechanical designer. Brian, back to you.
Shoji quotes for 400.
The quote. I used to play with blank when I was a kid. I thought about using them for my prototypes. As for the process, it depends on the case. Sometimes I start with sketches and then build a blank prototype, but sometimes I start by doing a prototype instead. Shoji said this about this worldwide famous childhood building toy that he uses.
What is Legos?
That is correct. Those who know,
Oh, I love his Lego
Shoji
models.
builds Lego models to get an idea of his designs in a 3D space. They're pretty cool. Check them out.
Mm-hmm.
Nico, back to you.
Can I get Shoji facts for 400 Evo coin, please?
Okay, off air, real quick. If
Yeah.
I have been married for 20 years, I'm entering in what decade of marriage?
Third
Third?
decade.
Okay, needed to know that. Shoji will be celebrating what decade of design in 2028?
This feels bad, but I'm gonna say, what is third decade?
That is incorrect. He will have been designing for 50 years at that point and entering his
Yep.
6th decade of mechanical design.
So you just lied to me?
Well, I didn't want to ask the question with the actual number. I just needed to know because I don't.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. We have to
Fool.
leave in the note beforehand because that details my betrayal.
Hey,
And by
Alice
betrayal,
is-
I mean I'm stupid.
I think viewers should know that Alice does ask clarifying questions when she's stupid, and then sometimes she just says things. So, it does matter. Brian, back to you.
you never know what you're gonna get.
Shoji designs for 800.
Shoji's skill was brought in for this collaboration with Good Smile Racing Team's 2014 car with this popular Japanese idol.
What is Hatsune Miku?
It's who is Hatsune Miku? She is not a what? She is a who. But yes, you are correct. The 2014 Good Smile Racing car had a transformation mode designed by Shoji Kawamori.
That's beautiful.
It
The
turns
Miku
into a
transformation
Miku.
car.
All right, next up.
That's so important. Can I get Shoji Macross Horde Mode for 200 Evo coin, please?
This was Shoji's second entry in the series and a film adaptation of the series with added content.
What is Macross Plus?
Incorrect. The answer is
Okay.
the Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love? We would have also accepted Macross, Do You Remember Love?
Well, I don't.
I don't accept it.
Brian, back to you.
I'll take Shoji Macross for 400.
This series is chronologically the last in the Macross series, and also Alice's favorite.
What is Macross Delta?
Correct! Would you have gotten it if I didn't put in the Alice's favorite?
I was already going to guess that, but I wasn't as sure. I wouldn't have yelled it out like that until you said.
Brian may be winning at Jehudi, but the thing that Brian's winning at the most is friendship.
That's right. Brian's getting all the
I
Alice
suck at friendship.
questions. All right. Nico, back to you.
Can I get Shoji facts for 600?
Shoji graduated from Osaka University with a degree in this.
What is civil engineering?
Incorrect. Aircraft engineering.
Oh my god, you were so close.
Civil engineering is a shout out to my bro who is a civil engineer. Thank you for trying to make sure bridges don't fall on us.
You know, there being a difference between those things just means that we all think that air is not civilized. Cut that.
No, that is true. The official OSG stance is that the division between civil and aeronautic engineering is because the air is not civilized. Ghost, write it down.
We're mean to Ghost. All right.
I
Nico,
love
back
Ghost.
to you.
Ghost thrives. Ghost thrives on being tortured in the monastic prison.
Brian, on to you.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
it's me?
Yep.
Okay. Shoji quotes for 600.
I promised myself never to do the same thing as blank does. Blank is produced with efficiency in mind. The production plans it that way. So, on Macross, we tried to do the things animators were told not to do on blank. Shoji said this about what iconic mecha predecessor?
Gundam? What is Gundam? Shit.
I'll give it to you. You caught yourself before I fixed you, but yes. Shoji has often talked about how the production on Gundam was about efficiency and pumping out episodes, and he didn't want that for Macross.
That's beautiful.
Nico, back to you.
Can I get Shoji facts for 800?
What mecha functionality is Shoji known for pioneering?
What is transformation?
Transformation? That is correct.
Yay!
Those robots.
I had genuine fear in my eyes you weren't going to get this.
I was like, this is an 800 Evo coin question. I was like,
I need you to keep that entire
did he
pregnant
design?
pause.
Yeah, did he design? I don't know. Piloting sticks. I don't know.
From left to right, they're
Yeah.
harder. It's like a difficulty scale. Okay, Brian, back to you.
Shoji designs for 1,000.
Shoji is credited with designing a conceptual power suit based on this vehicle in 2007. A conceptual power suit based on a line production car.
What is the Daihatsu mini truck? No, I'm kidding. I want to see a K truck Shoji Kawamori.
What is the Escalade?
Unfortunately, it was a Japanese car producer. It was the Nissan Dualis. And I now need both of you to go Google the Nissan Dualis power
fuck.
suit.
I need to buy the Nissan Dualis so I can have the Shoji car. The Nissan Dualis power.
Oh my god, what are we talking about?
Dualis, like
Power
dual
suit?
IF.
Okay.
Nissan Dualis.
What the fuck, Shoji? She kind of sexy with it though.
I'm like, why is she kind of sexy?
I'd fuck that
Why
car.
is she kind of sexy with it though? Oh my god, her beautiful thighs. Oh my god, look at the rear. Look at her taillights.
We cannot keep thirsting over the Nissan Dualis from 2007, okay?
It's so pretty though.
All right.
Also, I think it does count as sexual harassment if I ever say the phrase look at her taillights. I think I have to go to jail.
Right.
Pick a damn category.
Oh, we got rid of our DEI initiatives, our diversity and mecha.
So now I can sexually harass robots. Can I get Shoji facts for 1,000, please?
This was a misaccreditation of Shoji's name in the credits of the original Armored Core video game.
A misaccreditation.
First name only.
They called him Koji. What is Koji?
Incorrect. The answer is Syoji. Syoji.
Oh. Yeah, I never watched the credits because I never beat that fucking game.
I would have said like Daryl or something.
They fixed it in republishings, but in the first one,
Daryl Kawamori.
they did him so dirty. All right, Brian, back to you. Daryl Kawamori.
Can I get Shoji Macross for 600?
Daryl Kawamori is who designs Armac.
Macross isn't just the pioneer of transforming mechs, but is attributed with being the pioneer of this mainstay of modern Japanese culture.
What is anime music?
I'm not going to give it to you. It's virtual idols. What is virtual idols?
What is anime music? Was that
So
800?
true, though.
Or was
People
it
be talking
600?
about Macross music. That was 600.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I crossed the right thing off.
All right, Nico,
Okay.
back to you.
Can I get Shoji quotes for 800, please?
I didn't know how scary or how cute I should make them look. Shoji said about this creature mecha series he designed for.
Oh, fuck. What is Beast Bots?
Incorrect. The answer is, what is the Dragon Pilot?
Oh, okay. I think you make them like really scary because it's dragons, Shoji. I think
need
that's
you to-
kind
Yeah,
of
it's
an easy
fucking
answer. It's fucking
dragons,
By the
Shoji.
way, that show, which we will be covering, is cute girls piloting dragons with airplane parts slapped on them. It's adorable.
I'm obsessed with this.
Okay, I'm
I need to-
immediately out.
I'm-
Shoji doesn't miss. Sorry.
But they're just, it's like cutesy and not, yeah, it's okay. Brian, back to you.
Shoji Macross, hard moored for 800.
Please clap.
Please stop. Okay. I'm so happy. Sharon Apple is near and dear to our hearts, but this is only one of the many famous Macross idols. Literally, just name me one of them. Name me one other singer from the Macross series.
Karen Banco. Is that anything?
Please enjoy.
Who is Karen
Please
Mango?
enjoy the list of
Who is Karen Mango?
35 singers that have existed in the franchise.
Is Karen Mango one of them?
No. Thanks for asking. My favorite is Frasier.
Frasier? You love Frasier?
I love Frasier.
You love the Japanese idol girl
I
Frasier?
love Frasier so much. Nico,
Can I get motherfucking...
Nico, back to
Can I
you.
get motherfucking Shoji quotes for 1,000, please? Jesus Christ.
I have to slap in for this one. Back when we were making blank,
Slap
it was
in.
pretty obvious that AI would encroach into our lives in the near future. What's surprising is that it isn't limited to military applications. AI has seeped into our daily lives as well. At the same time, progress in biotechnology has been revolutionary, especially since DNA editing became an accessible technology. There have been plenty of works animated, live action, and science fiction that's about AI only, but there hasn't been much to incorporate AI and the evolution of technology as well as genetics. Shoji said about this movie that he helped produce.
What is Ghost in the Shell?
Incorrect. Macross Plus.
Oh, fuck me.
So close.
No, that's fair. That's fair, Shoji. That's fair play.
That's fair play. That's fair play.
Also, I need you all to know that I did open the Pop-Up Parade website so that I can look for their email later, because I have meant to, in total seriousness, email the Good Smile Company's English language email to please ask them to make Sharon Apple. We need a Sharon Apple figure. It's time.
It's bin time. I am left with Shoji Macross, hard moored for 1,000.
Let's get Horde.
Get Horde. Get Horde. This Macross pilot is known as one of the best pilots in all of anime, as rated by GameRant.com. I'll take either the number 1 or the number 2 answer, as both are from Macross.
Is it Who is Isamu Macross Plus?
Incorrect. Both are from the original series, so either Milia or Maximilian. Most people refer to Max as the best pilot in all of anime.
Damn.
That's a hardcore thing to claim. Should I order Wingstop?
I thought you were getting Chipotle.
Should I
you
order
have to get
Wingstop
Tex
instead,
Mexican.
though?
Okay.
But you have to get.
Oh,
okay.
I do! Shh, everyone shut up. I've got to get Tex Mexican.
Yeah, I may need to get some Tex Mexican in a bit.
Going out for lunch, and it's not going to be Tex Mexican. All right,
You better fucking.
I'm
get
going
it.
to run.
That's it.
I'm going to run the scores through Chiron
Okay.
6, which don't worry, I've taught it not to want to make nukes. Calculating now. By me calculating.
Nico barely made it so that she wasn't going to be... Sorry. Nico barely made it so that I wasn't going to win by triple her score. So congratulations to Nico.
Thank you for that.
But I did win.
Thank you for.
What was the
Noticing me.
end scores if I could get those numbers?
I had 3,000 and Nico had... Actually, sorry, Nico had 1,800. So actually a lot
All right.
more.
Time to go into
Oh,
final
yay.
Jehudi. Everybody write down what you're betting on. And that was Jehudi Shoji Kawamori edition. Viewers who played along at home, please feel free to let us know how many of those you got right, and let me know if I got anything wrong, which I didn't, because I know Shoji better than you. We're best friends.
That is true.
This is known.
All right,
I found the contact form for the Good Smile Company.
we're still recording a podcast. Can you wait?
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
I need you all to
Yeah,
help me.
but yeah.
For the letter section, you're just going to help me compose an email to the Good Smile Company.
We do have
Okay.
a flash transmission that we received on Blue Sky, the app. Please hit us up on Blue Sky. We love your questions. This one comes from the illustrious Irish J of Irish J Comics, fan and friend of the pod. Irish J says, they say you can't really say you love something until you listen to 3 drunk people dunk on it for 2 hours straight. Thank you for this beautiful holiday gift to Tavarich's.
Tavarich's.
This was in response to our Revengeance episode.
Yes.
They also
Thank you so
This-
much.
they also add the note, next year you should do Bayonetta 2.
We will have to look into it. I'm always down. I don't know much about Bayonetta, but I know that she is the woman of all time.
She's the one of all time. And I will say Alice has a blank spot on the schedule.
And
still.
Bayonetta 2, for those who know, is Mecha.
I didn't know that. I know her hair does stuff, but
Oh, I think Irish, we've got to do this one because these two need to know. Have either of you played Bayonetta 1?
I played Bayonetta 1, yeah. I didn't finish it, but I played it.
I've never played a Bayonetta game.
Very relevant also, and I think this is probably why Iris J glued these things together. Very relevant to Metal Gear Rising. I think that I do not like this style of game, which is why I didn't finish the first Bayonetta.
That's valid. I think this is a good choice, and I kind of want you two to play it without having finished one because it does a recap that's very good. But
Does two have the cunty evil blonde one?
yes.
Okay, I'm down. I'm really down actually to do two.
And then I did want to take this comment to also kind of circle back because now I'm sober and talk about Revengeance. I do think we did dunk on it, and it is fun to dunk on something for 2 hours. I think we all loved it in its own little shitty way, but what an end to the metal year that was. I also think that it's really important that the things you love, you can listen to 3 idiots talk about and not at them on Twitter or Blue Sky afterwards, because we have some hot takes, and it's nice that our listenership doesn't come at our throats for it.
I will say Iris did literally add us on Blue Sky, but it was positive, so...
Yes, we have yet to get a negative one, or at least
But
I
you
haven't
know
seen
there's a Metal Gear Rising Revengeance fan out there who's going to listen one day and be like, oh, fucking oh!
Mostly, I'm just grateful that people responded positively. Listening to it, that was one of the sloppiest records we've ever done because Alice started blitzed, and then you can hear us passing like ships in the night as I got totally fucking bombed off of my sake, and Alice started sobering up, and Brian was just like the level martini drinker the whole
I
time.
felt pretty level-headed the whole time.
Yeah, Brian was the only reason
You're
we didn't
both
crash.
amateurs.
What the fuck?
I don't drink that much, it must be said.
I came in thinking we were going to do a sloppy record, and then when I realized it wasn't, I was like, I've got to sober up a little bit.
No, we were doing sloppy record, but we thought we were doing it together. We thought we were taking the journey together. But Alice arrived on the bus having already done 4 hours.
Let it be known, when we say drunk episode, we mean show up with a beverage. Don't absolutely plow yourself an hour before recording.
I've learned this now.
But it was fun. I think it was a really fun episode.
Great episode.
And shout outs to everybody who enjoyed it, despite us being like really sloppy drunk. And also, I think that was an episode I was still recording in a weird closet. So not Brian's weird closet that had good audio, but like my bad weird closet that had bad audio. So thank you.
We
everyone.
really got to get out of the closet in 2025, guys.
I'm proud of us. None of us are in a closet right now. You're in an alcove.
None of us are in a closet.
Yeah, you're in an alcove. Brian's in a part of his living room, and I'm in my bedroom. And you know what? That's growth.
That's growth. That's character growth.
And also,
if I sound like shit because of the fact that I'm in my living room and not in my closet, that's character growth too.
because we haven't talked about Iris J in a minute, I do want to just shout out, hey, go check out their comics. They're really fucking good, guys. That's it.
They're dirty too. Ooh.
I don't like that we now have that noise just like on the recording, on record.
And that's this episode of On the Shoulders of Giants, where we discussed Gunhed. Any parting thoughts?
Yowie is when your mech loves you back, and Yuri is when you detonate yourself with a grenade.
Reaching tenderly and assuredly in the night to my dream grenade pin and pulling it solemnly.
What cop specifically means Texas Air Ranger women?
Texas Air Ranger babes are not exempt from ACAB.
Thanks for listening. Pilots, remember, you can reach out for advice from the team at our email, questions@osgpod.com, and non-pilots can send general questions or feedback to that same address. You can also catch up with us on social media, links in the description for updates and more. And make sure to check back in 2 weeks when we'll be discussing Ghost in the Shell 2: Innocence. Until then, goodbye. I love you.
Goodbye. I love you more than I love you, but I don't love you as much as Gunhed loves you.
The Gunhed Battalion has completed its mission.
Yeah!